So welcome to the show. How
Thank
are you?
I'm good.
Good, good. So I first want to start off with John Maxwell. Talk about that and the experience about just being involved in that. Because I know it's a powerful name, John Maxwell.
I actually heard about him when I started my Mary Kay business because he trained all the Mary Kay, all the
Representatives. Oh wow, I didn't. That's
all the directors.
I didn't.
Yeah,
That I didn't know. That I didn't
yeah.
know.
So that's how I first heard about him because all of
Okay.
our training that we had,
Mm-hmm.
John Maxwell we'd have conferences and there he was.
Okay.
I was like, wow, okay.
Good. All right. Yeah, that's interesting. So, how did you just became involved with that? You just like, okay, I like what he represents, and let me just come under his tutelage and kind of go from there.
I was sitting in my basement putting away my Mary Kay products one day, and I had a lot of his books because I was always into self-improvement and
Yeah.
different things like that. And I sat there and I said to myself, how does somebody get involved in this kind of business?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a thought. And then years later, my neighbor across the street comes to me and says, I have some great material for you for youth. And I'm like, okay, because I had worked with
Yeah.
youth. And I'm in the school system. So I said, give it to me. And I looked at it and the stuff is good.
Right.
And I said, anything good, you usually don't get through the front door, so let's see who I can talk to. And I kept it, and I had it for about a year, because I couldn't find anyone that I could, and they already had their own programs.
Right.
So then I called the company, and I talked with one of the representatives, and I said, what do you do? What's this about?
Yeah.
And I got really excited inside, and I started sharing with her what I did, and she's like, this sounds like a good fit, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, how much is it? And she
Yeah.
told me, I was like, well, when you have a sale, let me know and put me on the waiting list. And I left it like that. Went back to my neighbor, and I said, I called the company, and I like everything. I said, but it's just too much for me. I can't afford that right now. And he said, wait. He said, I have a mentorship program, and I can have people come in under me, and
Wow.
I think it might be half price, or I'm like, really? So and he was right at his door, and he goes and he grabs his laptop. We're standing at the front door, and he's on there pulling it up. He says, yeah, it's only this much, and all you need to do is go to certification this summer. You have to go,
Yeah.
and you're done.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. So I did it, and that same summer I had foot surgery. So I'm telling my doctor, I have to go to this conference. How long do I have? Because I got to walk around. Yeah. And I did it. Had the surgery, and 3 months, was it 90 days?
Yeah.
I did that 3 months. I was sitting with my foot up and got it done.
So it pays to invest. Audience, it really does pay to invest in yourself. And I know that's what, as soon as you got that feeling, we all get that feeling, and we don't take the steps. And I know you're glad that you did.
I did, and then right after that, I had to launch the business, and I was like, okay, how do I do it? Everything's new, and I'm walking through it, and I called a co-worker that had worked with that LIU back in the day,
right.
And she was the head of the HEOP program. And I called, I said, let me call Lynn. I said, because she worked at the college, and maybe she had moved to Farmingdale by that point, gotten her doctorate.
Right.
And I left her a message. I said, I don't even know if she remembers me. And when I called her, she's like, oh my gosh. And then it was 3-6, everyone, she said, people are coming back into my life. I'm like, wow. And I said, have you heard of John Maxwell? And she goes, have I heard of John Maxwell? My dissertation was on John Maxwell. I'm like, oh my God. So I knew I was in the right path. It was the right thing for me to do. And I did a presentation there, and the students loved it. And I said, how was it? She says, they're congregating in the parking lot. That means it was good. And she said, and one came to me and said, this is the best seminar we've had all year. And I'm like, wow, okay.
It's really good.
So, yeah.
So not only did you pay attention and pay, invest in yourself, but you also utilize your network.
Yes.
That's important.
That's important.
That's really important because I know I struggle with talking to other entrepreneurs or small businesses when, during the chamber events, and I can't get them to get it, in their heads. Networking is so important. Mm-hmm. And especially women, women. I mean, how was that for you? Stepping out and kind of being involved with other women, because I know there are challenges with that.
Well, my own personal path
Yeah.
lately has brought me into a lot of groups of women. So it's empowering.
Yeah.
Because everyone has stories, everyone needs support,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a whole lot of pain among sisters.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about stuff.
No, we don't.
And we're
conditioned.
We're conditioned. We're trained to do certain things. And I think since John Maxwell, I even signed up for a course from scratch with Danielle Leslie.
Okay.
And that's what kind of got me into the whole story thing.
Yeah.
Did you have a story? I'm like, what story do I have?
And don't stop.
I'm all over the place, you know.
Everybody has a story, guys. Everybody has a story.
I just didn't know what it was at the time. But I'm kind of like that person. I'm that creative, and I've had all these different ideas. Oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, hold it down. I'm like, I can't. What do I do? So I finally did hone it down to my own personal story of things that has happened personally lately.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a course from scratch, and then I got into, during COVID, the Naturalicious group.
Yeah, you told
I got
me
involved
about
with
that,
them, and I'm still in touch with those 10 women that reached out to me to this day. For 2 years, we've been Marco Poloing every day. It's like crazy. And then just recently I did, what's her name? Sage Levine on Rockin' the Stage. It was I always jump into these challenges. And I was like, let's see what that's about. Learn something new. Lifetime learner. So I did that. And that was another whole sisterhood of businesswomen online kind of deal. And from there, I'm in 2 other groups now that have kind of sectioned off. And,
so let me ask you, now I know that you're a parent. I know that you're a parent, and how did you integrate this? Was John Maxwell happening while the kids were growing up, or was it afterwards?
It was while they were growing up. I would say
How'd you fit it in?
Okay, so I was not that traditional woman who put my life on the shelf while I raised my kids.
Gotcha.
I made sure I kept things that I enjoyed doing on the burner, and I pulled them into my interests. So like crafting, stuff like that. I don't know, crocheting or like that. My aunt sewed, so I'm like, oh, you're gonna go visit Aunt Peggy today. You're gonna teach some sewing or painting, whatever. So I always try to pull those kinds of things in, and a part of that too was like that was my time. So for me, it was like personal growth, whatever you want to call that, but it's
the creative side of us. It's like we have to nourish that.
That's it. And I just felt like, oh, this is good. You know, it just kept me moving forward in some way. And
I see that a lot with a lot of women is that they get full forge on, like you said. You know, you got all these things that you want to do, and you full forge on whoever, work or your business, but you forget the creative side. You forget that side. You know, you forget your children. You involved your children in what you were doing. Did that help them grow even to what they are now?
I think so. I think so.
That's good.
Because even the Mary Kay, because that I was doing, because I had come home. You know, because I want to raise the kids be home with them, and that's why I started Mary Kay, so I could work from home. And that involves women, encouraging women, just looking good, feeling good.
That's good. That's important. Looking good and feeling good.
And I see that in my daughters today. They take time. They take me time. They take care of themselves. And I'm like, okay, that's something
that's important.
You
did do.
And I got that from my mom too. You know, I just observe certain things. Certain things are caught, not taught. Too.
That's true. That's really true. So let me ask you, now that you're where you are in life, and as a woman, as an evolved woman, what were your takeaways from different challenges in your life? What is some of the takeaways that you have?
I don't regret the path I have taken. I've learned a whole lot, as we all do, as we go through experiences. I'm recently divorced. This is March 22nd, so that is a new chapter in my life, and it's.
How does that glove feel?
It's different. A part of it's different, and a part feels like I'm picking up from where I left off when I was single, when I was younger.
Oh, that's good. Share that. What does that really mean? What is that? That's good.
It's kind of like, okay, so before we got married, we did this whole, what do you call those, Johnson analysis test,
Oh yeah,
temperament or whatever. Did that whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
and when we were going through it, you know, it was like, you guys are compatible,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna have these kind of like
Highs
little
and
gaps
lows,
depending on whatever. And I was told you will be happily single or happily married.
Right.
And for me, later on, that was happily married to the right person for longevity. Things happen,
Right.
and I had to make decisions
Right,
for myself,
sure.
and I
Sure.
had to say, we gotta just go our separate ways.
Right.
But I just feel like there's a part of me that's like in this continuum of
Singleness?
growth. I don't even know singleness,
No.
just growth
Right.
and experiencing things,
yeah.
and it's like I don't really want to be in a one
Yeah.
man
Yeah.
relationship.
Well,
Because I was in
singlehood.
one for 30 years, okay,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
and I was.
I think it's
I was
singlehood.
there.
I think it's
So
you're
singlehood
yeah,
right now,
I think
I'm enjoying that part.
Yeah.
I enjoy companionship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I can go do something and go home and I'm good. You know.
Yeah, I think having that feeling of singlehood is so important because you don't need anybody to validate you.
Mm-hmm.
What did you say? That's right.
Yeah.
You don't need no
Mm-hmm. And I
validation.
enjoy my own company.
And that's a good thing.
I have in the past. I think I think about it when I wasn't married.
Mm-hmm.
I would think about what is it like being married,
Right.
and if I don't, will I regret not getting married? You
And
know,
all those
things
yeah.
go through your head. You
Yeah.
know, and I would say to young women today, to my daughters, just do what you gotta
Yeah.
do,
Grow.
because I feel like the right person at the right time will come. It should fit like a glove.
Yeah.
People say marriage is hard, it's work.
No, it's
I don't think it should be that much
No.
work if you are really
Real,
in sync,
yeah.
like your soulmate really
Yeah.
vibing together.
I think that
There's work, but
there's work, but there's
I don't want to call
not
that.
compromise, but there's understanding.
Understanding, because that's a high level.
Yeah.
When you understand,
Understanding. I think there's a whole host of understanding. And I see a lot of women when they do, they want a relationship, they want to, and they go seeking, but without any worldly knowledge. Like I wish that I would travel to China and traveled way before I got married, because I would have had a different sense of everything. Like I would have had. It's so amazing what traveling and meeting other people besides this little circumference of the USA, it's so amazing how that is. It opens up a brand new perspective for you. Like that, it's like seeing the world unlimited. Really, it really is. So I think I see when I ask women, young women, when they I want a boyfriend, and this is what we're going to work on relationship wise, and I was like, okay, where you been? And then they tell me, I said, have you been to, I'll say something in Long Island, like, have you been to, I don't know, Oyster Bay? They were like, where's Oyster Bay? Okay, so we're not ready for this. You're not ready for it because you're going to have to be able to have a conversation outside that little bubble. Outside that little bubble, all of us, stimulating conversation, wouldn't you say? Yeah, that's part of companionship, because you can have a dog and the dog doesn't do anything but bark and you can't communicate. But that's a different type of companionship. You want a wholesome companionship. So
intellectually stimulating.
Yes.
And I think that's a big piece. When you start learning about yourself,
yes,
you say, what do you want? Like, now I'm like, what do I want? I thought about that before, but it was more like, I think women learn about motherhood and being a wife
on the job,
on the job, and what they've seen modeled before them, their mothers, their aunts, grandmothers,
absolutely.
And it could be good, better, and different.
Right.
And I would say mine was mine was decent.
Mhm.
It was stable. I had mom and dad.
Right.
You know, mom was very took care of us. You know, it was like get up, schedule in the morning,
Yeah.
get up, you eat your breakfast, and
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
your studies. So I had a lot of structure.
Yeah.
But there's a lot today. A lot of young people today don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure.
you know, when you're looking at getting into relationships, that's my piece of
When you're looking into it, yeah.
avoiding toxic relationships.
Yeah.
Those things are important. It's like knowing yourself
Oh, sure.
first,
Sure.
and then knowing what your negotiables are.
Yeah.
And then you go from there. But get as much as you can out of life.
Oh, yeah.
Travel. You
Absolutely.
know, it just gives you a whole lot more
Conversation about.
Yeah.
To really have a conversation about.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And knowing yourself is a key piece because we as women, I do a workshop on this. Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big question.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I? What do I like?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, you know, I was telling somebody the other day, I was talking to them on the phone, and this person was like really like between and betwixt who they were. I was like, well, what do you like to do? I don't know. I was like, well, you got to go on a fact finding mission. I said, I did canoeing, I did, you know, horseback riding, I did a number of other things to figure out what I like. Yeah, they're great, but they're not what I like. Because, you know, they're not like that I get so much joy from, you know, I'll do them, but then I don't get joy from them. And you have to go on a fact finding mission, really, right?
Yeah.
Did you say you did that?
Well, and the other piece of that too is when you grow up having been given different experiences,
Yeah.
that helps you also to kind of settle in something that you like to do. I learned how to crochet when I was young. I learned later in life how to quilt when my kids were children, and I was taking the sewing classes. So I do not like sewing clothes. That's for Danielle. She can knock that out. I do not. In 7th grade, I did a little jumper thing.
Me too.
But I don't like sewing clothes.
That was it for me.
Yeah, but I love quilting. I love to quilt because to me it's like colors, it's patterns.
My mom does that.
And I just sew, and it's like.
My mom does
it's
that.
like, ooh, yeah.
Right, so those little squares.
Yeah. Just sew them up or lay them out, and people get them like, oh, I love this. I'm like, what colors do you like? You know, I like that. It's relaxing. I like crocheting.
Right.
So those things I do when I have the time to do them, but I enjoy those things.
Yeah.
I like traveling. Haven't done that in a while, but
Yeah.
I like. I've always been interested in languages.
Yeah.
That's why I teach English as a second language. Learning languages. I like to read. I'm not a fiction book person. I'm more nonfiction. I like factual stuff.
I can watch a fiction movie.
Yeah,
when
me
I have
too.
the reading, I'm like,
I have other things to do.
I'm always about personal development, always about learning something different, you know, like just learning. And I was like, no. Yeah, I did that too. So you said something about time, and all women always talk about time. Talk about time management in all that you do.
You must have a calendar. Electronic,
must
paper,
have a calendar.
whatever, and only one. Don't have one here, one there, and then you have to transfer everything.
Yeah.
I was a big electronic person.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, okay, I can put it in my electronic Google Calendar.
Yeah.
And I have a, what do they call it? A Hobonichi planner.
Okay.
Hobonichi planner, they are expensive, but it works for me.
Okay.
They have a weekly layout, they have a daily, and a full month, all in one, and it's only that thick.
Okay.
And I buy one every year.
Okay.
I keep my journal in there.
Okay.
I keep what I'm doing, and I'm lost without it. And I'll put things in my Google Calendar too if I don't have that on me.
Yeah.
But
I love I love my phone, the calendar, everything's got to be in there. If somebody says to me, "Oh, no, let's meet on this day," they text me. I was like, "Oh no, send me a link, put it on my calendar because I'm not gonna look back in the text to see. Oh yeah, I'm just meeting Stephanie. You know, I'm not gonna do that. So I love like just the cloud calendar because it reminds me, keeps me on point, you know.
Yeah.
Even me to exercise, I do that. You know, this is what I gotta do. This is it.
Mhm.
You know, even though I might remember, you know, I don't want to take a chance that I don't remember. So time is really important with what we do, and us as women, and you know, wives, and you know, all of that stuff, girlfriends, you know, anything. There's time management.
And always put time in for yourself. I
Yeah.
learned this from this brother
Yeah.
from Lebanon. He said, I schedule exercise for myself.
Yeah.
And when people say, "Oh, can't we meet?" He says, "No, I have I have something at that time." He said, "I don't even tell them what it is because they'll say, oh, it's just that." No, that's necessary.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm having an appointment.
Yeah.
Just say I have an appointment. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I've been doing it for the last 7 years. I schedule meditation, exercise. It's on the calendar. I don't do anything until I do those things. It's like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to do it
Do
for
it.
yourself because yourself is important. And getting wisdom and awareness about yourself takes some solitude, takes some time to kind of like, okay, be aware of yourself and be, you know, I learned about meditation. Meditation wasn't just one way, like sitting, you know, still. It's not one way. It's literally so many ways that you are connected to their. And we often get fooled by that. Oh, we got to sit still. We got to think it. It's really not. You know, I love walking. I walk in the winter in the rain. I walk if I am inclined to. I do it. I love it. It puts me in that oneness. You know, what do you do for you know, leisure besides sewing?
For leisure? My schedule is really tight because I'm working full time.
Okay.
And I'm working my business. I'm building my business.
How many hours do you spend on that?
On
For your business?
Maybe a couple hours a day.
Okay.
And my first thing is that if I come home from school and I'm wiped out and I have no brain cells to think, I lay down. So I used to have a problem with resting.
Okay.
I was kind of like, if I laid down, I was like, I should be doing something. I shouldn't be sleeping. And it's like, and now it's like, nah, I need it.
You're so self-aware when you do that. I just saw you even when your eyes when you said it, you're starting to be self-aware. Like I need this. Like you're considering yourself now. That's really good. It's really good. I see it in your eyes. As soon as you're talking about it, it just like calm down.
Wow. Yeah. I like to dance.
Oh, me
so,
too. Yeah.
I mean, I'll come home from work and there'll be a jam on the radio. I'll crank it up in my car.
Me too, girl. You know it. Me too. I love it.
So, yeah. Dance and just go out and
just dance.
Just go out and dance. I said, let me delve into this online dating thing. So I was like, who's out there?
I've done that too. I've done that too. Done that too. Yeah.
So I said, let me just go there. So I went on there, and this was not on Black People Meet. This was just in a group that of people talking. And there's folks from New York City. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I said, okay, how can we do this safely? Because I said, I won't even come to my house. So who's talking me out after that?
Right.
So I said, I live in Suffolk and you're living in Queens. I said, we can meet in Nassau. And I said, my brother plays with the band in Freeport. And he's like, okay, I'm not far from there.
Yeah.
So we make an arrangement to meet. Now, I have my girls, because I was like, I'm not going there by myself.
Right.
So, but I don't know.
Right.
So I'm
Caution.
Caution. So back up, ladies. Y'all make a reservation. Y'all consider that somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'll be over here. I'll make a reservation for us, whatever.
Yeah.
So we're going in, and on the way in, I get a text. My brother had a heart attack. During the week, he let me know that his brother was sick or whatever's going through some stuff. So he's like, I may not make it. He says, my brother just has to go to the hospital, emergency, whatever. So I'm like, okay. And then he's like, maybe we can meet tomorrow. Now, my schedule, I'm very methodical. My Saturdays, I have no time for anything unless I schedule you in. Because that is hair wash day. And you know, that takes a while. do the clothes, clean all that.
Yeah.
So I was like, nah, and I wasn't, it's not like I'm desperate, like
Yeah.
put everything aside and I'm gonna go come see you. No,
Right.
I'm sorry, but we'll just shoot for another time.
Yeah.
If that works. And I says, I'll call you later tonight when I leave the place, check on, see how your brother's doing. I called. I would think they would have picked up, but I was like, well, maybe not because they're busy.
Of course, yeah.
And then I was like, okay, in the morning. And then it was just like, just kind of like left hanging. I'm like, okay.
Oh, you were ghosted.
I was like, all right, next.
Yeah.
I did not take that personally because if someone is not coming the way I think they should be coming, I don't need you. Move on.
Because you know what, I think that was a test for you to see if you want to drop everything for them. But again, you don't need someone. You want someone.
Right.
Two different things.
Yes.
Two different things. Yeah.
Yes.
She said that part.
Yeah.
That's
important because sometimes we feel like we need to have a man. Like we do need relationships with male, female.
Right.
It's good to have healthy relationships. But when you're talking about dating and that's a whole subject in itself. Because
we'll talk about that another day.
But just being grounded in yourself and where you are, what you want, and when you get to a certain point in life, age-wise, you kind of like don't have tolerance for sleep. Like, nah, you got time for that.
Yeah, exactly. You really to come to a point. What's like you said, the variables or what you will not accept. Because first of all, we're considering time. We're not 18, so we cannot like pitter patter. That part. We can't pitter patter. I can't wait for you to. Maybe you should. Maybe I shouldn't. And then but make me. Kind of like don't see anybody else. But I can. We can't have that.
Nah.
It's either both ways or not. And I kind of like the fact of dating, and dating means like you're not the only one.
Yes.
You're not the only one.
Yes.
And I like that. So I make that very plain. I hope you understand what dating means, right? I'm not 18. I'm not going to wife you because I'm not desperate, and that has nothing to do with you. It just has a lot to do with me. So I would like someone in my life, but I'm not willing to put a screeching halt to my life to fulfill your dreams of sitting on the couch and watching movies. Not gonna do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, we're really talking. This is really good. I think I'm happy back for the dating part because I really like to talk about that. So, what's coming up in the near future for you?
I'll be posting an Eventbrite Zoom talk on how to cut past the SHIT. Toxic relationships.
How to cut past it. I like it.
And SHIT stands for self-hindering internal thoughts.
Ooh.
Or harmful. Either one of those.
I like that.
So just kind of tapping into
I see a book coming out of this, guys. I see a whole book coming out of that. That's great. So when is it supposed to be?
I'm looking at the middle of October.
Okay.
So right now I'm just working out little technological issues with Zoom and Eventbrite.
Okay.
We had a little hang up.
Okay.
So yeah, but I'll be putting it up on Eventbrite.
Great. That's really great. I know that you're a John Maxwell consultant. Tell everyone how to get in touch with you or what you want to tell, my audience, like how, what you want them to come talk to you about.
I am I guess you say a life coach. I have tools to work with businesses, but I am that person that people can just come and talk with if you need some help in figuring stuff out, like what am I doing in life, your purpose, and just things like that. Just trying to unpack, just talking through stuff to help you get to where you need to go.
Okay. She can help you do that.
I can do that. Y si habla español, yo puedo hablar español también.
See?
That's Spanish too. So you need some.
Yes. Very important. That's very important. Well, we thank you, Pat, for being here today. Thank you, audience, because you could be anywhere else, but you're here with us today. So this brings us to the end of the show. I'm Edna White, your host, and this is my guest, Pat Christian, saying goodbye for now.